friends, I'm Amy and this is A Star Reads, and it is time for week one, the official week one of Squash That series, our first round, which is technically the 24 and 48 hour round.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, well,
I'm so scared I have to play whatever this is against Martine.
So the way this particular tournament's working is that each week we are going to be participating in one of the previous versions of Squash That series. So this week it just so happens to be the 24 and 48, which means that we have to read as many hours as possible during this week. My week has already started. And I'm already not in the lead, I'm behind. I am playing against one of the other people that are participating in this readathon, and so far they are beating me. I'm just not doing so great. The reason for that is because I was trying to finish out my 12 Days of Christmas Carol Advent Calendar Challenge, so I knew that the only way I was gonna get in a continuation of series for Squash That series was through my audiobook. So today I actually finished the book that I was listening to, and I think that makes me officially at 7.6 hours for the whole readathon. And this is the fourth day of the readathon, so I'm not doing my best. But now that the Advent Calendar Challenge is done, I can actually pick up a physical book that's a continuation of the series and get my hours in that way, as opposed to just audiobooks, because audiobooks are not my strength. They're not my strength. So I did complete In the Market for Murder by T.E. Kinsey, and I did a review of that in my final Advent Calendar Challenge vlog. So if that video is not out already, it will be out soon. Keep an eye out for that review. I read it mostly during that vlog, so I figured I would just include it with that. But now I'm moving on to a new audiobook, which is a continuation of the series, and I want to pick my next physical read. The physical book is definitely going to be one that I own, because I want to just try and read as many of the books off my own shelves as I possibly can. So for the audiobook, I'm picking up the second in the Fractured Fairy Tale series by Alix Harrow. This is Mended, and I'm really excited about listening to this one because I liked the first book, the novella A Spindle Splintered. It didn't get great reviews, but I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It's a retelling, but I thought it was a pretty unique retelling of Sleeping Beauty. So this next one I think has Snow White vibes. Yes, because it's called Mended. So this one does more of a retelling of the Snow White story. And I'm looking forward to that. It continues following the character that we got to know in the first one, Zinnia Gray. She's someone who was known to have this condition that would cause her to die by her 21st birthday. And because of her condition, she has become obsessed with the Sleeping Beauty story because she identifies with the various versions, the stories of Sleeping Beauty. And so the story goes from there. And I just thought it was really clever, really fun to read, and I enjoyed it a lot. So far, there's only these 2 books in this series, A Spindle Splintered and A Mended. So at least it would have me up to date on this series. I don't know if she's planning on doing more, but at the moment, there's only these 2. So I'm gonna listen to that one, and it's only 3 hours, so that won't hopefully take me too long. And it'll of course contribute to my hours of reading so that I can hopefully surpass the person that I'm going up against and, you know, carry on to next week and be able to continue competing. Although I don't know that I'm going to make it very far in this because I understand my limitations when it comes to reading. So I know that there are plenty of people in this readathon who are participating who will be able to do a much more thorough job of actually squashing their series. So Mended, that is my audiobook. I need to pick my physical book. So let me do some thinking and I'll get some ideas and I'll come back and talk to you about them. Because I ate up so many days of this particular round, finishing up my book for the Advent Calendar Challenge, I only have 2.5 days left before we find out what our next round is gonna be. So this is gonna be a slightly shorter vlog. It's only gonna last 2.5 days. And I don't have a ton of time. So I'd rather read a shorter story and finish it, because once we find out what the next round is, I won't know what the prompts are. I won't know what the challenges are. And it's better to have more options than it is to have less options. So I prefer to be able to start out with no books that I need to complete and be able to move on to whatever prompt it is, because I don't know what's going to be coming at me. So I'd like to read a book that I can finish before Wednesday or by Wednesday. So here's some of my options. One of them is Strawberry Shortcake Murder by Joanne Fluke. During the qualifying round, I finished the 1.5 book Candy for Christmas and the Hannah Swenson series, and I was really enjoying getting back with these characters. This is the second book in the series, and part of me really wants to read this because it was fun to touch back with these characters. And this is easy. It's a cozy mystery series. The only issue is that I've been reading a lot of mystery lately. A lot of mystery. And I just finished 2 mystery books. So do I really want to dive back into another mystery? I don't know. I don't know. So that's a possibility, but also I'm kind of like, I mean, it would be fast. It would be a fast read. Then I could pick up Searching for Dragons by Patricia Reed, because this one is middle grade. It's quick, or at least it's going to be quick. It's 241 pages. And this is fun and sweet and cute. It's a fantasy about dragons. That would be different. So that might be a good choice. It's nice and small. That might be a good choice. Maybe I should do this one. Okay, so that's a possibility. Then I've got Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This is the second in the Hunger Games series. And I read Hunger Games last year because I wanted to reread this whole series. And because it's a reread, it shouldn't take me too long, right? This is 380 something pages. I wouldn't think this would take me so long. It's YA dystopian, and I already know the story, and it's action packed. So that's a possibility. It's different. So maybe Catching Fire. I don't know what I'm feeling like. That's the problem. And then finally, I have The Emma Project. This is the final book, at least as far as I know, in the Rajay series by Sonali Dev. And these are romance retellings of Jane Austen's various books. So this one obviously is based off Emma. And I've read all the other ones. I've loved them. They're messy. They have a lot of family dynamic. But it reminded me a lot of a modern day version of Jane Austen's books because they're messy. They have a lot of family dynamic, a lot of social and class structure. I have really liked this series though because it looks a lot at some of our current things that we question about society. And Jane Austen really did have a critical eye towards society, the society that she lived in at the time. So it's nice to see Sonali Dev taking that same perspective nowadays where she's questioning the society we live in currently and has a bit of a satirical bend to her stories because of that. Then I also think to myself, this is the last in a series at the moment, meaning once I finish this, I'll have completed that series as far as I can tell. So that might be a good book to wait on because a prompt could come up where it asks me to read the last book in a series. It's really hard not knowing what's coming. And this one might take me a little bit longer. It's not very long, but these books are always very, I don't want to say convoluted because I enjoy the complexity of the situations in these, but they're a little more complex than your regular romance. So I don't know which one to pick. Maybe I should do a poll. Ooh. Should I do a poll? Okay. Good. You know what? I'm going to do a poll because I have to do dishes anyways. And while I do my dishes, I'm going to listen to Amir Mended, my audiobook. And I'll see what everybody else picks from me. I like that idea. Okay, so as you'll see here, I just put my poll up on Instagram and it already has a couple of votes, but I'm going to give it a while. I'm going to do some dishes, feed the pets, listen to my audiobook for a while, and maybe just take a break from reading because I think I need a break from reading. And I will start that one. I might start my physical book tomorrow. So I'll wait until tomorrow morning to see what the final results are, and then I will read that book. Good morning! It's Monday, and this round is going to end tomorrow night at midnight, Tuesday night. So I've got some reading to do. Currently awake. It's like 7 a.m. and I'm not technically going back to work until Wednesday. So for the next 2 days, I'm just making sure Mama's okay and still trying to heal myself. I'm still pale. Like some days I feel better, some days I don't. I know that I'll be completely better when my face stops being pale. I don't know what the deal is. Like I don't know why I don't seem to be getting like all the way better. What is on the back of that? Hopefully it doesn't say anything bad there.
What are you looking at?
I have no clue. There's something written on the back of this thing. Anyways, hopefully it's not anything bad. Okay, so I went back and looked at it, and you can't see it because it's slightly off the frame here, but it was written in 1997. Whoever wrote this wrote it in 1997. It said, I like the person who gave this to me. I'm guessing it's the hutch itself. I don't remember where Mom got this hutch. Probably from...
What, this one with your book?
Yeah.
Nancy.
My aunt gave us this hutch, and I don't know where she got it from, but apparently the person who had it at one point in 1997 liked the person who gave it to them. So I put the poll up last night, and as you'll see here, over 50% wanted me to read Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. So I'm going back to Hunger Games. I mean, I've read this series before, so I know what happens, but it's been a while, so I'm excited about getting back into this world. This might not have been my first choice, but I'm glad I'm reading it. So I will get this going and try to make up some hours for Squash That Series, so I'm not getting too far behind. I think I got up to 8.6 hours yesterday. Yeah. No, 8.3 hours. 8.3 hours? Yeah. So I got a total of not yesterday. My total hours has come up to 8.3 hours. So not great for the first 5 days, but you know, hopefully today I can make some progress. I'd like to do some video editing. I need to continue working on some of my chores and stuff like that. I've got to do my yoga. Oh, and later on I want to update my series tracker thing so that we can see where I'm at and what I've added and then where I've gotten caught up so far in this readathon. Okay, so let's see what I can update for this for now. Here's where I'm at. I just finished the second book in the Lady Hardcastle series, so I can definitely update that. Ugh, my pen is not... Okay, so that's there. I think I already updated... Yeah. The Laughing Corpse, which is the second in the Anita Blake series, and the 1.5 here in the Hannah Swenson series. I think I have some series I can add. Okay, so I'll put the Dream Harbor series, the Pumpkin Spice Cafe series. So far there are only 2 in that series. I imagine there'll be more because there's other people that I think could have a story in that one. And then I think that's it. I think that's completely updated at this point. So I'm currently working on the Fractured Fables, and so far there's only 2 in that one. I don't know if they're going to have more, but right now I'm working on that second one. So that would be currently complete, so that's nice. And then my reread of Hunger Games. So I'll be reading the second book, Catching Fire. So that's where I'm at. That's where I hope to get to by the end of this video, and then I can figure out what's my next audiobook, because I think I only have like 3 hours left of the Fractured Fables one, so that won't take too long. So maybe I'll have to find another audiobook to listen to that's a continuation of the series. Okay, we're up to date. Who's got her raincoat on because it's raining outside? Good morning! It is Tuesday, and today is the last day of the round 1 version of Squash That series. So the last time that I can focus on just the number of hours I'm reading per day. And then we will find out later on today who's moving forward in the bracket and who is going to become a cheerleader. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure I'm going to become a cheerleader. I think I've hit about 12 hours total in the past 7 days, not including today. So past 6 days of reading. And that's not a lot. But I think I was a bit burned out from Advent Calendar Challenge and the qualifying round, and then trying to finish up the Advent Calendar Challenge, that it's been really hard for me in the last few days to really sit down and read. So, you know, not putting in the best hours. Oh, and editing. I've been trying to do a lot of editing. So like, all in all, my reading has not been amazing. I also realized that I don't think I've done a very good job of updating on the actual books I'm reading this time around. So first, I'm listening to Mended, which is the second book in the Fractured Fables series. And this is a focus on our character Zinnia, and she gets pushed into the Snow White world. And so all of a sudden, she's no longer dealing with her Sleeping Beauty world, which she's been in and out of through all different types of dimensions. And I'm not enjoying this one quite as much as I was enjoying the first one. I think that the novelty of the way I got my shirt on backwards. Okay, fixed. So I think the novelty of the way it was written in the first one, the sarcasm, and just the way that the language is used is very modern, and I thought that was really clever in the first book. And this one, I'm not hating it. I'm really enjoying it. It's still fun to listen to, but it's just not quite as enjoyable as I felt like the first one was. Maybe it just feels a little like, okay, I guess the first one was probably enough. I don't know, we'll see. I'm 79% of the way through that one. It is only a 3-hour audiobook, so it's not very long. Maybe reading it as an audiobook is also hindering, because audiobooks feel different to me than physically reading the books, and I physically read the first book. I don't know. But then also, like I said, I'm feeling a little slumpy, so it could just be that listening or reading anything right now just feels kind of like, ugh. Second, I did start Catching Fire, which was what everybody chose for me on my Instagram, and I'm currently only 54 pages into this because I had a really hard time picking it up yesterday. Just not in a mood for reading at the moment. Today I'm hoping I'll feel a little more into reading, and since today's my last day of no work and I get to just enjoy being at home, helping mom and be at home, then hopefully I'll get a little more reading in today. If you don't know anything about this series, I'm sure you've heard of it, but maybe you don't know what it's about. The first book is all about these Hunger Games. There is this capital world that controls everything else, all the districts that belong to it, and the districts are where people mine or create different things. You know, all the natural resources or all the resources that are created in these districts are governed by the capital. Every year, the capital pulls 2 children from each district, and they force them to compete in this event called the Hunger Games, where they have to fight to the death. And the sole survivor is the one that becomes the victor, and that district gets a whole bunch of goodies because of it. But this is a way that the capital is reminding the people that we're the ones in charge. You don't have a choice. Your kids have to participate in this, and they're going to die. And so don't forget that we're the ones that are in charge. So that's basically what this is. This is a YA dystopian story, and it's really great. It's fantastic. And so I'm excited that I'm on the second book, because I did reread the first one last year. So this is a reread. I've read all of these. We'll see how long it takes me to get through that, but at least I can work on this, and the number of pages I get through right now doesn't matter. It's just the number of hours I spend reading. As far as today goes, we're just doing mom's shoulder exercises. I gotta show my aunt how to do that because, like I said, I've got work tomorrow and Thursday. If you want to know the update on mom, she is doing amazingly. She's in way less pain than she was before the surgery. So the surgery was exactly what she needed, because she was in so much pain. And everybody told her that this surgery is one of the most painful surgeries when you get a replacement, but her pain is like 20 times less than it was before the surgery, which is saying that she was in a lot of pain back then. Getting ready to find out what week 2 is going to be like, and whether or not I'll actually make it into the next round. I might just be a cheerleader, because I did not read as many hours this week as I had hoped to. Okay, so she's already said who all doesn't have a chance anymore to win. I'm not in the lead. I still have a chance if I keep reading tonight to win, which means that I've got to keep reading. We're doing a sprint now in between finding out what next week's round is going to be all about. So I've got some Catching Fire to do, and I'm gonna read tonight. The audiobook that I put on my phone is Ready Player 2, actually. I do want to finish that series. I do want to read that book. I loved the first book, Ready Player 1. It's been a long time since I read it, but I don't know if that'll matter so much. But I'm going to either be reading or listening to my audiobook. So that's what I'll be doing this afternoon until 10 p.m. because maybe, just maybe, I could still win this round and compete next week. Maybe. We'll see. We're gonna find out what round 2 is.
What did I say I don't want? I'm so scared.
Week 2, I should say.
I'm scared too. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, I don't know what that's gonna look like.
No.
Woohoo! I officially am the winner of round 1 between my matchup. and I don't have to read anymore tonight. Because the person I was competing against submitted their hours, and there's not enough time for them to be able to make up the difference between our two lengths of time. So I did it. So next week's going to be teams. So the person who I competed against this week will be my cheerleader, and we'll work together to try and compete against the next person. And I'm going to put the list here of points of how teams works, and the books I'm working on this week will work for this. And then I've got to strategically look at all the books I have and see what's going to work best for giving me points, but then also taking away points from the person I'm competing against. So I'm going to be looking through my books. I think House of Sky and Breath might be a good choice. The second book in the Crescent City, well, just because I was looking at taking away points, and that one would be able to take a lot of points away, I think. But I need to look at some of the other books, because that one's a really long one, and I think over a certain number of pages you get a certain number of points. But that one's really long, so maybe I could get one that's closer to that amount. I gotta really think about this. So I'll talk strategy in the next video. Good morning. It is work day. I'm going into work today, my first day back, and I'm excited about it. It's only a half day because I have training in the afternoon, so I'm excited about that because it'll give me a chance to kind of ease into it. Before I go, I want to give you a bit of an update on the end of week 1, because last night I was just too tired and we ended up watching a movie. So partway through the evening, around 6 something, I was like frantically listening to my audiobook and then reading Catching Fire. I was trying to make sure I got as much time in because I knew I was still competing. I think my total hours read for last week was 15.23 hours or something along those lines. And definitely not my best number of hours for a whole week. However, it didn't matter because all I needed was that to win. So I'm very excited because going into the next week, it's teams. I planned out my reading for next week and things are going to change drastically. So at the moment, I'm going to be putting down Catching Fire. And I'm currently on page 100, so I did make some progress. And luckily, this is a series I've read before, and so it's not like I can't easily pick this up again once I finish the other books I'm going to be reading and get to it. I just don't know what's coming, but I also know that I have to be strategic about my reading next week. And then as far as my audiobook goes, Ready Player 2, it was very info dumpy at the beginning. There's a lot of information coming at you, and so I can see, at least at this point, why some people really didn't enjoy it. I'm finding it interesting at the moment. It's not necessarily necessary because the last book finished so well. Ready Player 1 did finish really well. I can totally agree with that. But I find it fascinating at the moment, but I'm only 5% of the way through with that. And I will have to put it down for now. So once I get my other audiobooks finished, maybe I'll be able to come back to it. Based on teams and how we get points, these books are not going to be my best options. So I'm shifting my TBR completely, and I'll let you know all about that in the next vlog. Let me know in the comment section down below what's something you read this week that you thought was amazing or enjoyable. Was it a series or part of a series? I am enjoying continuing all these series. I think I'm going to get burnt out, but at the moment at least I'm enjoying this. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens on week 2 when we're doing teams. We got to come up with a team name. I got to think of something clever and fun for our team name. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.